However, no, let's not look there. We've got to look somewhere else because no, that's not real. We've got to do this and we've got to do... The asylum continues. Okay, right. Welcome back to another Serious About Success podcast. Good to know that you're listening. So thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. On today's podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about our reasons why, okay? Because this is something that comes up quite often. As no doubt some of you that might have heard my podcast before, we've literally coached thousands of people around the world on, all things serious about success. What does that really mean? If you want to achieve success in any aspect of your life, what does that ultimately really mean? And, more to the point, who do you need to become? Because that's what this whole process is. If you haven't grown up around it, if you haven't, been somebody that has been fortunate enough to have lots of really positive, strong influences in and around the whole success area, then we've got to go through a whole process of really understanding who we need to become in order for us to start achieving the success of what it is that we say that we want to achieve. Now, a part of this whole process, a huge part is really finding out and understanding, what is your reason why? Why do you want to be achieving the success of what it is that we're saying that we want to achieve, okay? Now, for me, people often say to me, yeah, but Jay, what's your reason why? Why do you keep on going? Why are you doing podcasts? Why do you want to become more and more successful? Is it not time to now start slowing down now, Jay? Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to do that? And for me, my reason why, I've got several reasons why. And, first and foremost, and some of you might be able to relate to this, because first and foremost came from a place of watching, my parents, mainly my mum, watching my mum really struggle. As a child, being worried about, who's knocking on the door, is it the debt collection, company come to take away our stuff, what is it, who is at the door, things like that, to, always being told that, well, we can't afford it, we can't do this, we can't do that, we can't afford it, we can't afford it, we can't afford it, money doesn't grow in trees, what am I, made of money, but we can't do it, and being told that, over and over and over again. And like I say, I'm not blaming anybody. At the end of the day, you're dealing with what it is that you've got. So the best way that you can cope with what it is that you've got, then that's what we're doing. So there's no blame, there's no finger pointing, there's no you could have become an entrepreneur. You could have started reading some books. Why didn't you read Rich Dad Poor Dad when you was younger? It's none of that. It's never about that. But watching that growing up, and not just seeing that in my household, seeing that across my whole family, that everybody is in a situation where they struggle. But then, as I'm growing up and I'm becoming a teenager and, people kind of putting labels on me in terms of, Jay, well, are you really going to achieve that much? You didn't really do that well in your, school examinations and stuff like that, really and truly, just get yourself a job, any type of job, and that will do you. Yeah. Then, so for me, that was a huge thing. It's like, look, I will show each and every one of you that I can achieve whatever it is that I'm setting myself to achieve. Yeah. Like, this is where a lot of the drive and the real determination to succeed, that's where it really came from, is people doubting that I'm going to be able to achieve much based on my academic achievements. I didn't really feel that was the be all and end all. For me, it's like, well, you know what, I'm just getting started, but again, people around us, family, friends and friends' parents and other people, we're all governed by academia, like the person that's got the most amount of A's, that's the person that's going to be the most successful. But, is that really the case? Because lots of entrepreneurs, that's not always the case. It's not always a case of they've got a great academic career, If anything, sometimes you'll read that sometimes, having too much heavy emphasis on, schooling and academia can actually, reverse your achievements when it comes to entrepreneurship, because we're so used to reading everything from a book. We're so used to getting answers from a book rather than just getting out there and doing it and being it, So obviously, where I came from, there wasn't really much understanding about getting out there and doing it and being it. It was more about, okay, well, look, let's get our head into our book. And I never really thought that was my path. So, I had this big chip on my shoulder that I will show you, I will show everyone, I will show the whole world of what it is that, J. Anthony Hastings can do. So that was a big part of my drive, certainly in the early days. And then I've got a daughter, I've got a young daughter. This also forms a part of my reason why, because, she looks up to her dad. And for me, I've always wanted to be one of them men. I was having a conversation with one of my students about this just this week. I've always wanted to be, that guy that's like, well, look, I'm the leader, I'm the head of my family, if you like. My daughter, she looks up to me, and I can't have it the same way as what it was when I was young. If my daughter needs something, if she needs a new pair of shoes, even if her mum, me and her mum haven't been together for a long time, and we have had our fair share of drama, but unfortunately, we're in a good place right now. But if her mum needs anything, I can't be that guy that's, the thing is, and making excuses. I can't be that guy. I can't do it. I've got to be the guy that no matter what, I've got to be able to provide. I must be able to do that. So no matter what, whatever that may well look like, I've got to be that guy. And I've always taken that very, 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 very seriously. I want to be able to give, my daughter, experiences. And I want to spoil her. And I want to give her, like, Dad, I want this. She's saying, Dad, I want a pony. I'm not getting you a pony, right? I'm not getting you no pony, yeah? Where am I going to put this pony, right? That's what she's saying to me, Dad, So it's not about that. It's not about wanting to just give her anything and everything just because it's there. But, being able to give her experiences, to travel, to, learn new things, that for me is huge. It's absolutely massive. And I never wanted to be that guy that turns around and if you ask your dad, it's like, oh, she comes and asks her dad. And if it's something she genuinely needs and she asks her dad, and I'm like, well, the thing is, I can't do it. I can't have that. So that forms a really big part of my reason why as well. It really genuinely does. However, there's one other thing that means a heck of a lot to me. So there's a accumulation here of reasons why. This is the reason why that, it's quite late right about now over here in the UK. It's like 11:30 at night right about now. And guess what? No doubt, of course, I'm looking to go to bed soon, but you know what? I've got work to do. So I'm sitting here, I've got this podcast to do right now. So, that's the reason why, because I've got so many reasons why. The accumulation is like, well, no, I've got to sit here because I've got things to do because I've got a reason why, right? So, when you've got a really strong reason why, it really can drive you forward. But as I said, there's another reason why that really rings very, very, very loudly in my heart and in my mind. And that is that I've got one experience of being myself. I've got one experience of being J. Anthony Hastings. And what do I want to do with that experience? This is huge for me. Absolutely massive. Because I've realized over time, just me, my personal experience, my personal journey, I've realized over time that the world isn't necessarily the way that I thought it was when I was growing up. I thought that, that all you had to do was just have a really good job. I thought that, everything was fair. I thought that, that the whole government system, everything's got our back and, everything's all good. But as time has gone on and the older I've got, and the more my eyes have become more and more and more open, I've realized that, well, you know what? that not every single thing as what's been told, is necessarily as is. And what I mean by that is, if we look at our current state of our society right here, right now, and if you look at the situation where the cost of living continues to grow, continues to rise, however, wages do not follow suit. So as a result of that, how do people live? How are we supposed to live? How do we do it? If you're just a single person, living and just trying to, if you want to own your own home and own a car and eat decent food and, maybe just go on holiday once a year, without having some top paid job, how are we supposed to live? And over the years, I remember that, not every single thing that, it didn't all add up. It didn't add up. And, my family used to say, well, Jay, hang on a minute, I think you're going a bit crazy here. It's like, well, what do you mean that, that everything isn't as per what we see it is? How come? And it's like, what are you talking about, Jay? And I'm like, well, no, I don't really think it is. I don't know if history that is being taught to me in schools, I don't know if that is the real history. I don't know if, everything about society, money, and how it really works, where obviously, we might take out loans from the bank and literally, the money that is getting put into our bank account is literally from thin air, backed by nothing at all, of which they're then going to add on a load of interest, really getting the everyday person into a real deep hole, of which is difficult to climb out of that hole. And like I say, if you look around us, majority of us are fighting to get out of this hole. I said in a podcast recently that I did with Hazel, I had mentioned that, how do you get a decent meal nowadays? How do you just get a decent meal, that is not pumped full of chemicals and, and all these artificial factors and all the rest of it? How do you just get a decent meal? It's difficult. That is not necessarily, pumped full of, external programming and the news and everything. There's so much stuff that, I could go into, even down to things like, religion. Now, look, I'm a fan of religion in terms of, I like the belief of, higher power. I do like these beliefs. However, the amount of division that is being created as a result of what you believe, that then goes on to create wars. I believe that there's only one true spirituality. So, how is it a case of religions can then go on to create wars? And just because somebody believes this and somebody believes that, where ultimately at the deepest level, we'll probably believe in the same thing anyway, to be honest. But it then goes on to create wars of which people die. What is that about? I mentioned, like I said in the last podcast, I was talking about things like, well, how can it be a case of, over here in the Western world, we live in a Christian society, we've grown up in that sort of way anyway, of which, we've got our commandments, of which some of those commandments, or one of those commandments is, thou shalt not kill. However, you've now got people going out to other countries and killing people. However, they're now celebrated and rewarded as war heroes. Like, I don't get it. So thou shalt not kill unless we, a government over here says it's okay. But then I thought that this is in the eyes of the higher power. So how can I then be celebrated and come back and, thank you for your service and all this type of stuff that you hear all of the time? Yeah, but they're killing people. I just don't get it. It doesn't make sense. Am I? It doesn't make sense to me. So I'm looking at society and I'm looking at all of these things and none of it is really adding up. You've got things that go on in the world, that are, people might call me a conspiracy theorist. Okay, well, it is what it is, but what I've tried to do is I've tried to just keep my eyes open, or I'm just seeing what it is that I see. And if somebody says, "Well, hang on a minute, the sky is green," I'm going to say, "Well, no, it doesn't look green. It looks blue to me." "Oh, no, the sky's green." "Yeah, but it doesn't look green. It looks blue." And I'm looking at it with my own eyes. So what else can I see apart from a blue sky? But over time, I've seen it so often that no. It is this, it is that. We see it so much nowadays, even with, well, hang on a minute, how many genders have we got? Well, no, actually, okay, well, no, well, we've only ever seen where you've got male, you've got female. If you look at the whole of the animal kingdom, if you look at plants, if you look at everything, you've got male and female. It's like, well, no, we've got more genders now. It's like, what really? Like, look, I have no prejudice. That people, you do what you want. I'm not here to judge. I really genuinely am not. I'm not. However, at the same time, you're either born a male or you're born a female. And that is it. Like, it is what it is. You might have more hormones in one than the other, but at the end of the day, it's either, you either born a male or you're born a female. However, no, let's not look there. We've got to look somewhere else, because no, that's not real. We've got to do this and we've got to do... The asylum continues. So one of my biggest reasons why is I want to try and be as free as I can possibly be within the society of what it is that we live in, because what I have felt that I have always seen is an asylum, to be honest with you. And like I say, this whole, thou shalt not kill, that kind of sums it up. Because we just accept it. I mean, over here in the Western world, obviously we have the Poppy Day, yeah? Like celebrating war heroes. And look, I'm not here to try and upset anybody here, but I'm just trying to say, is that not going against one of the commandments? And if we're a Christian nation as such, or if we're a religious nation in that sort of way, then what justifies them killing? Oh yeah, but other people are going to kill us. Well, nobody should be killing anybody. And it's just it's just the insanity that we will also even damage the planet in the way that we're damaging the planet. In terms of like, chopping down. I was watching this thing the other day with, the legend David Attenborough, and, how much, of the natural world, he was talking about the wilderness and how much that is just shrinking every single decade. It shrinks and how much, mankind is just damaging the planet. And it's just like, well, you know what? Like, well, who cares? Like, we've got to just make some money out of it. And it's like, I mean, look, I watched some of you might know what I'm talking about here, the film Avatar, when, with the blue people, yeah? And in the first one, and when man was coming to the Avatar land and they wanted to like blow up everything to try and get the tree, yeah? To try and get access to the tree, because that tree is going to be worth a lot of money. And then you had the blue people look at it, and it's like the insanity of mankind. That you will damage, you will ruin like the sacred tree, to get some money. It makes no sense. So yeah, so for me, it's a big part of my reason as to why, like, to try and be as free as I can possibly be within the society of what it is that I live in. Because what's the alternative? I mean, when I say as free as I can possibly be within the society that we live in, well, of course, I'm still living in this society. I'm still here. Like, I still have to, pay my tax. I still have to pay, bills. I still have to, I'm still governed, because I am a part of society. I can't just, all right, unless I just completely go off grid, just completely disappear. But even then, I'm still going to, want to maybe have internet access so I can do this, or there's going to be something. I mean, I could just literally completely go off grid, like completely, and I'm sure there's people that do that. And credit to them, credit to them. Maybe I might get to that stage in my life at some point where I'm just like, well, you know what? Yeah, like, this is me done. I'm out of it. I'm out of it completely. And what really is upsetting is when, There are certain agendas that are really pushed upon mankind, really pushed in a huge way.
Hi, I hope you're enjoying the podcast. Don't worry, we've got lots more content left to come. This is just a quick word from me. Now, you will hear us speak a lot about things like mentorship, as well as that, surrounding yourself with the right people. Now, one of the other things, if you really want to achieve the financial success, what makes it helpful is to have things like accountability. This can be the difference between you making it and you really not really quite getting there. Now, if you're at the start of your journey, you want to maybe leave your 9-to-5 day job, or you're just in the process of starting up a business, I would like you to come and check out our website, www.seriousaboutssuccess.com. Over the years, we have coached thousands of people all around the world. We speak on BBC Radio as their go-to guy for anything related to mentorship. It's very important for you to have that helping hand along the way. So come and check out our website, sign up for our free training, and we'll show you exactly what it takes for you to succeed. Now back to the podcast.
We have an assumption that the government, the system, everything is all doing this for the good of man. Agendas are pushed on us. And, no matter who seems to be in office, I'm yet to see a president or a prime minister that goes into office and, right, you know what? We are not having war. I don't care. We are stopping war. We are, we're not killing people. I'm yet to see it. I'm yet to see anyone just talk any real common sense and just say, you know what? This is madness. That, it is now going to be illegal to pump all this crap that is in foods that is no doubt creating lots of illnesses and diseases. It's we're not having it anymore. No, I'm yet to see, somebody really stand up and really make that real definitive declaration. And that's what I'd love to see. I would love to see that. So, who knows, some at some stage, Jay Hastings for Prime Minister, I don't know about that. But, I would really love to see, just a declaration of some real common sense and some real love and support for us as compassionate beings, all round. And that would be an absolutely fantastic day. That's something that I would really, really love to see in my existence at some point. But will it be? Well, who knows? I mean, I tell you what, if you look back over history, that the majority of leaders, any real big leader that has really stood up for real common sense, from JFK to, Martin Luther King, has always been assassinated, right? And what's that about? It's like, can we just get some sanity going on this planet? Now, look, I'm not here to try and be doom and gloom. And what I'm here is to try to say, well, what's the alternative? The alternative is, trying to be as free as we can possibly be within the society that we live in. That is the alternative for me. And, no doubt, some of you might resonate with some of the things of what it is that I'm speaking about here. Again, I'm not here trying to upset anybody. I'm not here to try and say that anything's bad, religion's bad, or gender this is bad. I'm not. Ultimately, people do what they want, but we've got to have a level of common sense and just straightforwardness, so that we can, just live a decent life. So, reasons why. Those are my reasons why. So, what about you? In terms of what's going to drive you towards achieving the success of what it is that you want in your life? What's really going to drive you? Because look at all the things of what it is that I'm saying here that's driving me, which is the reason why it's now 11:40 and I'm still sitting here. And I've got a lot more to say, That's what's driving me, but to really get you to where it is that you want to be, what's really driving you, because it's not always going to be easy. Like I hear it every single week of my life in terms of, I'm going to do it, Joe. I was going to do it, Joe. I was going to do it right. I was going to do it. Yeah, I was going to do it. But the thing is, and even though I speak in the way that I speak, and and make it very clear that success doesn't care. Success doesn't care about its excuses. Success doesn't care about any of this type of stuff. Success, if this was success over here, right? I've got my hand up for those of you that are listening, yeah? If this is success, yeah, just my, or my hand over here, right? Then success doesn't care. Success is looking at you, it's like, well, look, you either get stuff done or you don't. Like, either way, it's your choice. And if you do it, then guess what? You can expect to achieve some success. But if you don't, then don't expect to achieve any success. And, it's difficult because it's difficult for the penny to really drop. Really, really, really drop. And that's the reason why having a real strong reason why is so, so, so important. So if you think about maybe some of your family members, if you think about your mum, if you think about your dad, if you think about your partner, if you think about your children, if you think about, how they might look at you, and if you think to yourself, well, you know what, there is a duty here for us to go on and really, really make a change in the lives of the people that we see, because what is the alternative? Who are we looking to help us in these type of situations? Who are we looking for? Are we looking for, like, oh, it's going to be all right, it's going to be all right. Because again, like, we watch the news, we watch these type of things, we get so much negativity. Interest rates going up, this natural war's going on, this natural disaster, this is going bad, and this is going thing, and this is going bad, and education, and this person killed this person, that other person killed the other person, and it's just all like fear, pummeled, every single day into us. And it's like, well, if we're looking at that establishment, when we're looking at our kids, if we're looking at that establishment to really, take charge, take control, and to really lead us to a place of what? Abundance. Then I don't necessarily think that we're looking in the right direction. But like I say, it's up to you, okay? It's completely up to you. You will hear that I have, several people that come on my podcast that are a little bit different, they are like maybe a little bit more on the spiritual sort of side of things. And, sometimes it's like people say to me, well, why? What's that got to do with achieving success, Jay? What's that, got to do with it? But for me, what I've ultimately studied and what I've realized is that, well, if I'm looking at this everyday bombardment of negativity and just reality that it just doesn't make sense, what's beyond that? What is beyond that? What is beyond that, that asylum that just doesn't make sense? And for me, this is what I found. Once upon a time, I haven't always been this guy. Once upon a time, it's like, look, when you die, that's it. Well, God, well, I don't know about this, I don't know about that, yeah, I don't know about this. But then when you then start really looking outside of the everyday asylum, when you start looking, all right, well, look, if this can't really, if this is not real, then if this is not really real, it's just, so what's real? And then to then start looking outside and now start looking really at, well, how does this planet really work? The laws that govern the planet, or the dimension that we're in, or the simulation, or whatever it is that we want to put it down to. What's really going on? Who really am I? Because, the moment that I put a label on myself, the moment I put a label that I am J. Anthony Hastings and I am this. So I used to work in a corporate company, and I'm J. Anthony Hastings. I work for the Royal Bank of Scotland. I'm number 6363288, and that's it. And I'm a team manager, and and this is what I do. And I wear a shirt and a tie, and I carry a briefcase, and I go to work every day. And and I come home, I watch a bit of football, and then I do the same thing the following day. And is that who I really am then? Because the moment I then put that label on me, moment I put that label of J. Anthony Hastings and I plaster that on me, well, that kind of limits me all the way down, to this little old me. Whereas to take those shackles off, to take that label off, well, who really am I? But it's not just about me here. Who really are you? Who really are you within, this planet, this experience of what we're having? Who really are you? And to really now tap into what that really looks like. That's the quest. That's something what it is that I'm on. This is some of the most eye-opening experiences of what I've had in recent times, is really taking off the tinted glasses and really now embracing the reality of what is really going on. And we've all heard of things like like karma. We hear about these things. Yeah, but it's karma, Jay. Yeah, but it's karma. Yeah, but it's karma. But hang on a minute. So most of us will use those type of terminology, regardless of whether or not you're spiritual or not. We're going to use terminology like karma. All right, but what is karma then? So for us to take, hang on a minute, let's just stop for a minute. Let's just not use these words flippantly. Like, it's used so often. Well, what is karma then? The law of karma. What is the law of attraction? What is these laws? Like, what is really going on? Because these are not the sorts of things that we go into too much detail about when we're at school. What are we learning when we go to school? However, outside of that, now that we're adults and we've got an opportunity to really now start exploring who we really are. Well, what are these laws? What is really going on? What is really this experience of what it is that we are really having? Yeah. So for those of you that it's like, we do Jay's program, we talk about about success, we talk about business, we talk about affiliate marketing. Yeah, all this stuff is great. But you want to really get deeper into, what the sorts of things of what I really think about is stuff like this. Who really am I? What's really going on, in terms of this planet, this experience, whatever that might look like. And, you can get lots of stories. Again, some of us might be biblical, some of us might be Muslim, some of us are atheists completely, but if we believe in certain stories, well, what's going on there? Jesus Christ said this, or, Allah said that, or whatever it may well be. But what's really being said and what's really going on? What does that really relate to? Is that a metaphor for something? What's really going on? So just to now start reading in between the lines and not just see it flippantly and just go over our head. Oh, yeah, it's karma, though. Oh, yeah, law of attraction. Oh, yeah, anyway, what's on TV? To really now start going deeper in terms of, all right, well, what really is this stuff? It's something that I believe is really, really, really powerful, really, really, really powerful. But like I say, everybody's on their own journey. Yeah, everyone's on their own journey of discovery. And this is what my journey looks like, and learning how to, all right, well, manifest your own reality. And what does that really look like? So how do we then manipulate the experience of what we're having so that we can now create the abundant life of what no doubt each and every one of us are thriving to achieve? What does that, how do we really attract this abundance? How do we really get there? And a lot of it is not external. A lot of it is internal. So to look inside and really now discover, the abundance within us. What does that now look like? And then what do we then attract into our lives as a result of what's going on internally? But let's not focus on that because there's something on TV. Let's watch this, or we've got the news that's saying on distraction. We've now got tablets and phones and all this stuff, distraction. Distraction. Let's just distract everybody away from really trying to really understand the truth around what is really going on within us, what's really going on outside in terms of the everyday life of what it is that we live. But most importantly, let's really distract, the everyday person from what's really going on within them. Because if we really discover what's really going on within us, then we might unlock the keys to, the truth of who we really are. And what does that really look like? So there you have it. I love this type of stuff. I really love this type of topic. It's the really root cause of or one of the root causes of who I am and why I'm on this journey and why I'm an entrepreneur, to be honest with you, so that I can be as free as I can possibly be, so I can explore and try and find out who I really am, so that I want to have the time that I can to be able to do that, so that I can have the time and the resources to really discover what that person really looks like. And it is quite a journey. It really is. So within yourself, figure out again, what is your reason why are you really striving, why are you listening to me right now? If you're continuing to listen to me, I appreciate you, I really genuinely do. But why? What is it that we're gaining? Where do we want to go in your life? What is it that you really want from your life? What is this evolution really looking like for you? Because today, hopefully, you kind of get a bit of an idea of what this evolution looks like for me. And yeah, money is great, and the business side of things is brilliant, and I love being free in that aspect. But really and truly, the real quest is more about a discovery of who I really am. That's what the discovery is, and not who I really am as J. Anthony Hastings. Not that, not with the label. It's with, beyond that label. Who am I really beyond that label? That's my journey of discovery, But again, trying to find your journey of discovery, what does that look like for you? Okay, right, I think I've spoken quite a bit this evening about all different types of stuff. Some of you are like, well, hang on, Jay, I'm just we just want to make some money, really. Yeah, just make some money. Do you know what I mean? All this type of stuff about the system, the governments and the this and the that and the this and the that. But like I say, I started off talking about reasons why, right? And again, this forms a part of my reason why. Why am I sitting here? Why am I, why have I become an entrepreneur? It's because of stuff like this. And yeah, it's not really stuff that you might talk about with everyone. It's not stuff that I might just open up and, break into conversation around a table. It depends, Not always, depends. But having this platform, having the opportunity to just kind of speak freely on my podcast feels so good. It really genuinely does. Okay. Anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed today's podcast. Remember, really discover your reason why. What it really, really looks like to you. And like I say, if you resonate with anything of what it is I'm saying here, if we've got any rose-tinted glasses on, let's see what it might potentially look like without the glasses on. Can you see it? Like I say, it's up to you. And sometimes, it's easier to keep the glasses on, because if we take the glasses off, then geez, you see it all for what it really is. And hang on a minute, that's a scary place. So sometimes it's easier to keep the glasses on, so that we can just stay in line with everything of what we've been taught and what we've been raised to believe. So it's easier sometimes to just abide by the status quo and what everybody else says. Back in the day, I remember coming downstairs and saying to my mum, about Christopher Columbus, and I discovered that, hang on a minute, I was looking at something, this sort of stuff consumed me, and I was like, well, hang on a minute, I don't think Christopher Columbus discovered America. It's like, well, what do you mean? It's like, well, hang on a minute, it's ancient artifacts, from places like Africa, over in places like Mexico, and even in North America. So that then meant that, no doubt that, civilizations from maybe, from Africa traveled across the world in previously and stuff like that. Jay, you are mad. You're crazy, Jay. Where did he get that from? I'm just saying, look, I'm just going by what it is that I've studied and what I've found. I'm just going with what I see, right? Like, instead of always just being told, no, this is what happened. Well, hang on a minute. Let me look and let me see. Hang on, we've got some ancient artifacts here of that you can see that's an African artifact and it's in Mexico. What do you mean? Oh, no, let's not look at that. Let's just go with what we hear. Let's just go with what we're told. Yeah, but I don't want to. I can see it with my eyes. My eyes are open. well, Jay, but it is what it is. Like I say, this is just my journey. All right. Look, thank you so much for tuning in to the podcast today. Remember, we are serious about success. Okay. So your reason why, and like I say, being free for your own reasons, whatever that may well look like for you, your own reasons as to what freedom really means and why that's important to you. Let's discover who you really are, and let's really achieve what it is that you want to achieve in life. Until the next time, thank you so much for tuning in. Until then, thank you. Bye-bye. Cheers. Thank you.